At Mr. Chenu's restaurant, everyone is looking for a mouse. They're referring to a thief who steals food for his poor siblings. Sahil, who is an intern there, watches the thief feeding his siblings. The thief begs Chenu for mercy, but Sahil wants them to learn something. He suggests that Chenu should employ the family so they can earn a living and not steal from anyone. Chenu happily gives Sahil some money for his final year of college, but he hands it over to the poor children. Sahil's classmate, Jahan, keeps teasing his best friend, Venu. When they attend Javed's class, Sahil gets distracted by the new girl, Meeti. He keeps staring at her and learns that she has come to Shimla from Delhi. Sahil notices a tattoo of anus on Venu's neck and asks him about it. Venu explains that the artist forgot an apostrophe after Anu, who is his wife. Since the tattoo now says anus, he keeps it hidden so people don't make fun of him. He asks Sahil to make sure that Jahan and never find out about it. When Venu teases Sahil about Meeti, he takes a picture of Venu's tattoo so he doesn't mess with him. It's Meeti's birthday soon, and Sahil feels hurt she didn't invite him. Venu decides to celebrate at a bar anyway, and Meeti soon walks in with her friends. When Jahan tries to make her dance and drink, she refuses to join him. She claims she doesn't drink alcohol or smoke, which makes Sahil feel comfortable. Meeti feels bad for not inviting Sahil to her birthday. She only called the people her friend, Kavita, suggested. She decides to step out for a walk, and Sahil joins her. They discuss their favorite movies and how Meeti prefers arranged marriage. When Meeti claims she hasn't been kissed yet, Sahil gets excited that he's not the only one. She's very close to her dad, while Sahil's parents passed away a decade ago. The next morning, Venu and Kavita want to know if either of them kissed each other. They keep denying it, but Sahil seems happy. Meeti and Sahil soon confess their love for each other and kiss. Meeti feels uncomfortable going further, so Sahil doesn't mind waiting. He loves the red shirt she gifted him, which is also her favorite color. Sahil wants to take Meeti out on a grand date, but she wants to save money and donate to underprivileged kids instead. Sahil happily donates to the charity of her choice, Muskan Foundation. His father has left him a lot of money, and he doesn't have too many expenses. They're invited to a guest lecture that night, so they decide to postpone their date. Meeti is missing from the lecture because she has a headache. As Venu and Sahil get back, a pizza delivery boy complains about Jahan not paying for his order. Sahil goes to confront Jahan in his room but finds Meeti smoking and enjoying with him. Meeti asks him to understand that she had a headache because her grandma had a heart attack that evening. She claims she never smokes and promises that it won't happen again. Sahil believes her and lets the matter go. A few days later, Sahil is headed to Manali to help Chenu with some work. He promises to take Meeti on a date when he gets back. He returns that day itself, but finds Meeti playing around with Jahan. He almost beats Jahan up in anger and breaks up with Meeti. During an exam, Sahil notices that Meeti is cheating. He gestures to Venu to show him what she's doing, but he complains to the teacher. Meeti gets caught, and her parents are called to the principal's office. Her father begs the principal Das not to make Meeti repeat a year. He has taken too many loans and doesn't have more funds. Since he also has a heart condition, the principal gives her one more chance. Even then, Meeti won't get more than 35% for her efforts. That night, Sarah asks Jahan and the others to check on Meeti. They find her unconscious in her room. Sahil learns that Meeti's grandma also passed away that day. He comes to visit Meeti in the hospital and feels bad about the school authorities being strict with her. She asks him for another chance, and they start dating again. All is well till Sahil finds Venu playing with Meeti's underwear one day. He gets offended and beats Venu up. Everyone hears about this fiasco, and Venu comes back to the room looking pissed. He thinks Sahil's reaction was uncalled for when he didn't even know whose undergarment he was holding. A little while later, everyone seems distracted in Javed's class. Venu's anus photo is all over the class WhatsApp group. He comes over and slaps Sahil for betraying him. Sahil confronts Jahan about the photo, but he doesn't confirm that he circulated it. When Sahil gets back to his room, he finds all his stuff destroyed. There's a note on the wall with Venu's name, so he goes and beats up Venu again. No one understands why he's acting so violently, and he even hits Meeti in all the mess by mistake. Javed comes to Sahil's room to check the destruction. Sahil points at the photos of Meeti that have been destroyed and the message on the wall, except there's no message anymore. All students think he has anger issues, and Javed calls him to Das's office the following morning. When Meeti is alone, she remembers the time Kavita told her that Sahil and Venu got her caught for cheating. She feels glad about getting her revenge on Sahil. That night, Javed gets a call from Meeti and rushes to her room to help. After that, Sahil also gets a call. Javed finds Meeti injured, and she claims that Sahil molested her. Before Javed can help, Sahil comes to the room and starts beating Javed up for touching Miti. Everyone thinks Sahil is crazy when he gets Javed hospitalized. When Sahil is in custody, all the students, including Venu, think he has anger issues. When Miti is called to testify in court, she claims that Sahil molested her. Since he gets defensive and angry, no one believes that he is innocent. The lawyer brings up Sahil's past in 2007 when his mother, Anita, went into a coma. 6 months later, Sahil was convicted for murdering his father. Since Sahil doesn't deny it, the court considers him guilty. After a medical examination, Sahil is shifted to Shimla Mental Asylum. It turns out that Miti faked her illness and threw her underwear at Venu to start their fights. She also sent Venu's picture to Jahan and destroyed Sahil's room. That night, she hurt herself and called Sahil later to claim that Javed molested her. 3 years later in Noida, Miti is excited about her first meeting with the company's director. She's dating a bigwig in the company, Anuj Mathur, and is impressing everyone. Meanwhile, Sahil has been in the institute all along. He gets violent whenever he even looks at the red color. Nanu, who is like a father to Sahil there, thinks he's making progress. He arranges for a meeting with Dr. Irani so that Sahil can have some hope of leaving the asylum. Anuj wants to celebrate an anniversary and donates to Miti's NGO, Muskan. Miti's ex-boyfriend, Priyank, teases her about becoming a director from a trainee. He knows it's all because of her rich boyfriend and threatens to reveal her reality to Anuj. Dr. Irani conducts a test on Sahil to learn how scared he is of the color red. While there's improvement from last month, it's not enough to let him leave the asylum. Irani promises to be Sahil's guarantor if he behaves well for 3 months and doesn't get any complaints. Priyank calls Miti again when she's with Anuj to demand money. She's scared that he will say something to Anuj, so she manipulates Anuj to gift some money to her. Nanu asks Sahil about Surya, who has bribed the security head, Mishra, to arrange for a meeting with him. The cameras are going to be shut down the following night, so Surya can get some papers signed from Sahil. This disturbs Sahil a lot, and he trashes the red soup at dinner. Nanu knows the soup wasn't the problem and asks what's bothering him. Sahil reveals that Surya is his brother, who murdered their father and blamed it on him. Nanu assures Sahil that he'll be in the same room when Surya turns up. Surya gloats about sending him to prison 13 years ago. Sahil refuses to sign the documents till Surya reveals why he murdered their father. Surya stabbed him with scissors and blamed it on Sahil to take advantage of having an identical twin. When Surya forces Sahil to sign, the patients start creating a ruckus. When the guard goes to check on them, Nana shocks Surya so Sahil can change clothes and switch places with him. Surya resists, but Nana and Sahil overpower him and exchange clothes before the guard comes back. Sahil walks out of the asylum as Surya with his head held high. He arranged the whole setup and asked the inmates to create a ruckus when Nana gave them a signal. When Sahil comes back home, he remembers the day he witnessed Surya stabbing their father. Surya wanted to make sure their dad didn't live like their mom did when he pushed her from the stairs. He asked Sahil to quietly take the blame and threatened to finish him off. Nana makes Surya look like Sahil and promises to make him crazy too. Sahil takes over Surya's life and tries to be like him. He even checks what Miti is doing and follows her around. When Miti is alone in the shower at night, Sahil switches off all the lights and bangs on the bathroom door. Anuj can't see anyone around, so Miti makes up a story about Sahil. She claims that Sahil stalked her in college and got violent with everyone. She pretends she's scared he's free now. Anuj calls the asylum and learns that Sahil is right there. She makes him check the footage of their room, but there's no trace of Sahil there. Sahil tries to pay the man who helped him erase the footage, but he also got betrayed by a girl like Miti. While Anuj leaves for Mumbai to attend a meeting, Sahil is shown samples of a chainsaw. When his employees discuss getting a better deal, Sahil asks them to focus on the quality. Priyank asks Miti for more money and calls her to a theater. Meanwhile, Sahil dresses up in a turban and comes over to Miti's place. He pretends he's Smiley, a friend from her college. He gives her parents an envelope to hand over to Miti. He also learns that Miti's grandma passed away before she was even born. Miti parks in the basement and meets Priyank in the movie hall. She doesn't have money, so he takes the Rolex watch that Anuj gave her. When Miti gets back to the basement, she hears Kavita calling out for help. Sahil comes out with a chainsaw to attack her, but she gets into her car and escapes. When Anuj asks what Miti was doing in a basement, she makes up a story about visiting a temple. She feels scared of Sahil, so they decide to visit Kavita. Miti is under the impression that Sahil chopped her legs, but Kavita seems fine. She makes Miti sound crazy for believing that Sahil is around when he's still clearly in the asylum. She also informs Anuj that Meety was dating Sahil once. Kavita is happy to help Sahil and asks him to make sure that Meety pays for ruining everyone's lives. When Meety shows Anuj the parking lot, it's clearly under construction. Anuj also thinks she has lost her mind when she sticks to her story. Meety shows Sahil's photo to her parents, but they don't think Smiley was the same person. Anuj drags her away when she gets desperate to prove her point. Anuj even shows her the live footage of the asylum where Surya is sitting. He asks her to stop the madness. Meety pays Priyank to get a gun, but he calls Sahil about it. Kavita learns that Meety and Anuj are getting engaged that week and moving to London. She asks Sahil to act soon. In a hurry, Sahil signs his own name on a check. Chacha, who has worked in Sahil's house since he was a kid, realizes who he is. He's glad that Surya is in the asylum instead of Sahil. He tried to help Sahil earlier too, but Surya threatened him. On the night of Meety and Anuj's engagement, a video starts playing of all the people Meety has hurt. Kavita outs her as a gold digger. The video also shows Bilal, who Meety seduced to get a trainee position in Anuj's company. Meety shut him down when she got the job. Anand, who was earlier engaged to Kavita, shares how Meety seduced him and betrayed Kavita. She took loans from him too. Priyank started dating Meety when she was 15. She blackmailed him for money and threatened to imprison him for sleeping with a minor. Even if his mother was sick, he somehow arranged for money to pay Meety. All the people in the video also reveal that Meety has a fake charity called Muskan Foundation. They have proof that it transfers funds to her own account when she asks a man to donate. Anuj breaks off the engagement, and her dad also gets a heart attack. She drinks all night and gets a call from Sahil in the morning. He threatens to take her dad away, so Meety rushes to the hospital. Sahil attacks her, but a man attacks him instead of harassing her. When Meety takes out her gun, Sahil runs away from her as she keeps shooting. He makes her chase him for a long time till the cops spot her. Meety finds Sahil entering her dad's room and shoots him. When she runs out of bullets, she beats him up ruthlessly and ends his life right there. While her parents are traumatized, she gets taken into custody. Meety gets a visit in prison from Surya, who thanks her for murdering Sahil. He shows proof that they're twins and explains how Sahil betrayed him. He promises to help her, but Meety knows he's actually Sahil when she hears him whistling a tune. Turns out that Sahil asked Chacha to get Surya out of the asylum when he learned that Meety has a gun. He knew she would try to finish him off after the engagement fiasco. He makes a plan so that Surya meets him in the hospital. Sahil keeps track of Surya's movements and makes sure he's in Meety's dad's room when she finds him. Meety mistakes Surya for Sahil and attacks him on the spot.